Well, hello, everyone. This is Katy Huff with Katy Huff Ministries, and I am so thankful that you're here to listen to Setting Yourself Free, a podcast where we are encouraging you to be, do, and have all that God created you to be and not be settling, have shame, or self-betrayal. And I am so excited because I have Vanessa Saracino, who is here from the great state of New York, and has quite the story to share with us about how she has set herself free. And so, Vanessa, welcome. I'm so grateful that we connected on Facebook, and here we are talking about what you've set yourself free from. So welcome, and I look forward to hearing and sharing your story with anyone and everyone that is listening.
Thank you so much for having me, Katy. It's an honor to be here.
And it's a blessing for me. I'm so grateful that you're here. So it's exciting. And so what do you think you've set yourself free? Or you could even start with who Vanessa is and what you've done.
So I think that's a very interesting question. So I am a former fashion designer, still have a background in fashion. I am divorced. I have a beautiful 18-year-old daughter. I am just living life the best way I know how.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good. And so what do you feel that you are setting yourself free from?
So I think I set, oh, here the phone goes. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I set myself free from a toxic marriage, ridiculous expectations, and a life void of love.
Okay. All right. So can you share with us the sequence of events that you went through to be set free?
So it started for me, living the life of my dreams and with a divorce plagued by infidelity. And I realized that betrayal was a deal breaker for me. So having a young daughter, I couldn't go back to corporate America with the ridiculous expectation that I could do it all. And I ended up selling everything and moving back home. And with my parents, who are, elderly at this point. And I was, riddled with this unbelievable expectation that I could do it all. Work in an industry or go back to an industry that required so many long hours. I was in New Jersey, my jobs were in New York. And so I set myself free from what wasn't a 9 to 5 or corporate America, but what was a 9 to 9,
Wow.
16-hour days. And I knew I needed to raise my daughter and I wanted to be there for her. And I was actually ridiculed for making that decision. I sold everything and I just concentrated and focused on being there with her and for her, and to, finish, raising her to be the best person she could be, helping her with school and dealing with the transition. And so, the enemy was fighting me at all sides, and I was ridiculed and by almost everyone. And then, the attacks just kept coming. And my father ended up getting sick. First, he had been sick, since probably 2010, but he ended up getting sick with prostate cancer, went into remission, and then he ended up getting esophageal cancer. And that ended up metastasizing to his brain. So if you could imagine, my daughter and I were the support system, the emotional and the mental support system for them, just to be there. My daughter was not doing well in school, and the attacks just kept coming with no support.
Wow. I am so sorry to hear that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's rough.
It was very.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be a caregiver because, of course, I was a registered nurse for 12 years. And then my mother was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and she was sick for about 11 to 14 years. And she was at home on home health, and we took care of her. So I feel your pain when it comes to watching someone who we love so much to have to go through so much as well. So,
Right. And every time I tried to get my life back, it was interesting because, God had closed all of those doors. I pretty much am compared to the story is compared to that of Job. And I
oh,
lost everything I had ever worked for. And
mm,
looking back on it now, like he closed those doors for very good reasons. And, I had to rebuild, but every time I went to rebuild, I couldn't gain traction. And I
mm,
was like, I know for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that those doors closed for a reason.
oh
I
yeah.
wasn't meant to still be in the fashion industry in New York. And I wasn't meant to just go get a job and put my big girl panties on, like someone put it.
Yeah.
And just, like I wore many hats and I handled it beautifully, not as well as I probably would have liked, but it was tough stuff. And then my mother got into an accident and she
Mm,
was laid up for 2 months. So
wow.
I had both of them. And my daughter, it was my daughter who said, Mom, we'll just take care of them and let's just do this. And we put them first. Not that to say that we did the most amazing job, but we did the best we could.
Well, I have no doubt that, God's plan is perfect. And I'm not saying that God's plan isn't for us to be ill or have you go through what you did with your mom or your dad, or like
Right.
with me and my mom and dad. But, life happens, but you always can, at least for me, I look back and said, there's a reason for everything. And we might not always understand it when we're going through it. But in hindsight, it allowed me obviously to be with my mom in such a very unique phase where all of a sudden I'm taking care of my mom when she gave me birth and took care of me
Right.
until I left the nest. And so that was beautiful. And even with my father, but I always say God's either a protector or a provider at all times.
I
So
agree with that.
sometimes when we lose something or we think that we have been, like the career was lost or the relationship was lost, it's not that he wants us to go through hardship, but he also has a plan that's so much bigger than us. And so I would ask you, how have you seen God moving in your life in this process to set yourself free and move forward?
So, I lost everything that I knew,
Mm,
a marriage, houses, money, cars, and here I am like, what do I do now? And so it's interesting because even when I was still married, every time my father got sick or my parents needed me, God had orchestrated me being free from whatever projects I was working on.
yeah.
So I was always Vanessa to the rescue.
Oh,
Like I put my cape on and I did what I needed to do. And so, I've seen him restoring me little by little and
mm,
restoring everything I lost, and all in his timing.
yeah.
And I, during COVID, before COVID, I actually had a client in New York and I was back involved in the fashion industry. And I was walking down the street and I just said, this isn't for me. And my legs almost gave out. And
Wow.
I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And I heard it very clearly. And this is not the first thing that had happened where I felt God communicating in my life. So within a couple of weeks, COVID hit. They ended up not needing me anymore because they scaled back. And I started an inspirational t-shirt line. And I created, designed, and manufactured my own t-shirts overseas with inspirational quotes on them for our biblical scripture that I wanted every woman to know, and two of my own that came to me. One of them came to me driving to Walmart with my daughter and the dog in the car. And, I said, quick, Alexa, write this down. And, I found an artist, they're beautifully illustrated t-shirts, and I created my own. And so I knew that I wanted that this was the start of the restoration. And I created that. And then during COVID, it's interesting, I have to tell this story that, one day somebody said, stop talking about your story because nobody wants to hear it. And this is the funny thing. Within 2 weeks, I got my first book deal.
I'd say, I don't agree with that, because that's what you need to do, is tell your story.
Exactly. That's what I need to do. So during COVID, in the last 3 years, actually, I wrote 2 stories in 2 anthologies, collaboration pieces that are #1 international bestsellers. And I'm actually currently working on my 3rd.
Awesome.
And the 3rd story is the most tender one yet. And that'll be out in June.
Wow. Congratulations.
So, thank you so much. And,
yes.
God just keeps working, restoring relationships. Like, I never knew how many loving people like me there were out there. And God is slowly, putting those people in play. And I'm meeting all the right people to take me to the fullness of the destiny He has for me.
Oh, yeah. And His plan is so much bigger than ours. And in His timing,
Absolutely,
it's right on time, because sometimes I'm for my audience that knows me, they recognize the fact that Katy's pretty good at trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And I've hopefully come to a point where it's just like, I'm not trying to do that anymore. But again, trusting and consciously, intentionally trusting that everything happens for a reason, and His timing is perfect, because sometimes, like I said, He's our protector. Sometimes we're not ready to be in that arena that we want to be in so bad, but at the right time, it's like the doors just come flying open, and then that His hand is upon it. So that's
what I'm seeing now. Yeah, it's very, very incredible.
Nice. Well, that was the next question, is what experiences did you have where God did not forsake you or helped you get yourself free or on the right path?
So yeah, restoring relationships. Like, I never knew, like, now I'm free to have the relationships I want to have that fill my soul and fill my cup. And they're reciprocal and they're loving and nurturing. I'm not a robot, and setting myself free from working 16-hour days and providing and living with these ridiculous expectations that you have to have the big house, the nice cars, all that will come, but you don't have to sacrifice everything about you for it. And so, I just see the restoration every day. And the one thing that happened to me that I know that He did not forsake me is what I'm writing about in my current chapter of the book I'm in, and it's called Ignite Your Faith. And so I talk about a sign, divinely orchestrated from the heavens while I was praying on the highway driving my car. So are you still there?
I am.
Okay. So driving my car, and a very clear message, divinely guided, that you could not make up. And so that was the answer I needed, that said, I want you to live. Thank you very much for your obedience, taking care of your dad, taking care of your mom, always coming to the rescue, taking care of people, and just being obedient to the call and doing what was right.
Well, in His word, it says, if we are obedient, He will continually fill our cup. That's not the language in the Bible, but He will continually, outflow whatever it is that we are desiring, which is a beautiful thing. And, it says, ask, seek, and knock in His word. So we're asking for direction, we're seeking for direction, and then we're knocking on the doors. And when the door and the timing is right, it opens. And it works obviously out for all of us. So I think it would be very interesting for all of you women and men even that are listening to this podcast. For the women, you need to, I think, know how little Miss Vanessa and I got together to share this incredible story with you of her story, and what she set herself free from is that I was on the Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs website, and I was just searching down and looking to see who's who and what's what. And I would like to have Vanessa tell you how that played out and how we are here right now.
So a couple of hours, well, first of all, God put it on my heart to start promoting organically. And so I started promoting, my Etsy shop, my Facebook page, what I offer, what I wanted women, what I thought was inspirational to women. And I started posting on all the promotion posts, and I started commenting. And I remember distinctly one day just saying, God, I surrender. Your will be done. Whatever door you want me to, go through, open for me. And whatever doors you want me to, not go through, keep shut. And I said, I surrender, your will be done. And within an hour, I get a private message from Katy. And it says, I would really like to know what you do or get to know you better. And I was like, I didn't even ask for this. And it's like, we were in the middle of COVID for a couple of years. We're all not doing what we normally do. I'm staying very isolated. And here this beautiful woman, this beautiful soul found me and reached out to me. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I answered her back. We set up a call. And I think we talked for maybe like an hour and a half. And we had so much in common. I was like, you know what? People were, people in my immediate circle, even though I grew up in a devout Catholic background, my parents understood, the call on my life, and my parents understood my belief system, but other people didn't. Right. So, I got called all sorts of names in the book, and I'm like, wow, okay. So somebody has the same, similar beliefs that I do. And it was amazing. We had the greatest conversation.
And through that, for all of you that are listening, it was like, she has this incredible line, like she told you on Etsy, and she goes, go to my Etsy. And I'm like on with her, and we're talking, and I'm looking at these t-shirts and these even suitcases and swag bags and cups and all these things. And for you that don't know me, I do women's retreats. I have my podcast. I have my book. I have a website that is katy-huff.com. And I'm thinking, how can we collaborate and strategize with her beautiful, talented experiences that she has in the fashion world, and all of the women on my women's retreats. We always have a t-shirt, we always have swag. And I was just like, this is so incredible, because her business is called Be You to Full. If you can see, and the behind her head to her right is her inspiration, fashion, and faith. And I was just like, okay, this is definitely a God thing, because what she has to offer anyone that goes on her site. And my women's retreat is absolutely beautiful. She has a heart to serve, and what she's been through is very similar to what I've been through in my relationships. Although she had one, I had many that betrayed me. But thank God he had a plan. And so I was just thrilled. And we, like she said, we were on for an hour and a half, and I said, let's do a podcast. And so here we are. And I'm really excited about what the future holds for both of us. And
I just want to add, if I may,
yes.
I write a devotional weekly, and the devotional for this week, the first line in it is take off the mask. And Katy's book is called Unmasked. And
yes.
that was just another way that I knew that we were just meant to have and develop, a friendship together, because we had, like, it seemed like our souls were on the same wavelength.
Yes. And it's been an amazing week that we've been in
Yes.
contact with each other. And so I am truly excited and so blessed that, I was on and that's a great, I guess, reference that I would give to any woman is to check out the Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, because you never know who you're going to cross and meet and how it could change the trajectory of your business by cooperating and coordinating with each other and collaborating. So I am thrilled about that and look forward to all that we're going to do together in that realm. But so what advice would you give someone that may be going through something similar that you went through?
Cut out the background noise, no distractions, spend time with God, follow your intuition, because I truly believe it comes from Him. Stay faithful, because I know that He has great plans for each and every one of us, whether we can see it or not. Raise your hand to opportunity, whether you can see where it's going or not, because it's all part of the master plan. Take what you have in your hand, your talents, never give them away. Actually give them away, but never, give them up for what, you think you need to do. And just stay incredibly faithful, because it all works out in the end and is all part of the master plan.
Yeah, absolutely. That was beautifully said. And so where can they follow you, or where can they find your beautiful fashions, and how they might be able to reach out to you, and your books?
So my books and all my product lines are on my Etsy shop at Studio Be Beautiful on Etsy. I have a Facebook page that you can follow. It's Inspiration Fashion Faith. And when you type that in, Be Beautiful will come up. And that's where I post my weekly devotional. And I'm also an Amazon influencer, where I come up with an outfit of the day that you can purchase on my influencer shop on Amazon.
Awesome. And I will tell you, you need to go look at that. What'd you call it? The fashion show of the day, or what was it?
It's my little fashion blog. It is an outfit of the day that I actually post every day. And, Monday is pants and Tuesday is dresses. And, every day is something different. And I put a whole outfit together, including shoes and accessories. And it's really cute.
And before we go, I think you should share with them, while you were in the fashion industry, where all did it take you?
You ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm sitting.
So I have been, and when I say these countries, several times, I've been to Hong Kong, Germany, Italy, London, India. My first day on the job as a design director for Bill Blass, first day on the job, I was on a plane to Paris for a Premiere Vision, which was a fabric show, a fashion and fabric show. I have been to, and this is my favorite, Dubai, several times. Got to eat in, that beautiful hotel on the water that they reclaimed from the sea. Just an incredible life. And then I ended up taking a back seat to wanting to have a family. And I took a different job that didn't require travel. And now, believe it or not, fashion designers aren't really traveling that much. But I've been able to, I was able to work for every top designer brand known to man, all the American brands.
So that's just like, wow. I mean, what an inspiration in itself, and an experience of a lifetime that you probably could have lived 20 lives in all the places that you've been. And so my point to all of you is that if you want some fashion queen expert, this is where you would actually want to go, is to Be Beautiful with my dear friend Vanessa. And so I just want to say thank you for listening, and encourage you to go to www.katy-huff.com to learn more about my books, my coaching, my courses, my podcasts, my women's retreats. And I would encourage you to please follow Katy Huff Ministries on YouTube and subscribe, because I would love for you to stay on top of all of these amazing stories, and follow us on Instagram, and I'm looking at all the things, Twitter. I mean, there's not a platform that we're not on, and I would just encourage you to follow us. And we look forward to you listening, subscribing, and following Beautiful and Inspiration, Passion, and Faith and Katy Huff Ministries. And so I just say thank you, Vanessa, for sharing your heart, your story. And I look forward to us just celebrating a lot of wins as we walk out God's calling on our life.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. It was an absolute blessing. God bless you.
If it was, God bless you.